Ha ha! The Commanders continue to commander. Washington has hired Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn as their next head coach. And coming up here on Eagles Now, why this is great news for Philadelphia. Let's get into it. And this is Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Appreciate all of you for rocking and rolling with us. Today's episode is presented by Roan. I'm wearing their commuter polo. And here in 2024, we're already in the second month. If you haven't revamped your wardrobe, make sure you do so with Roan and their commuter collection. And if you use that link down below, roan.com/chatsports, you get 20% off your order. Why I love Roan and wearing their products: high quality men's clothing, breathable and stretchable fabric. No need to go to the dry cleaner, so you can actually save money because they have wrinkle release technology. Who likes to go on a date with somebody who's stinking up the joint? Anti-odor technology with Roan. You don't got to worry about that any longer. I also love their versatility on top of the quality. They offer dress shirts, polos, pants, and shorts. So one more time, 20% off using the promo code CHATSPORTS at roan.com/chatsports. Summer gear, winter gear, spring gear, any type of season, Roan has you covered. Link is hanging out down in the comments section as well as in the show notes of today's Philadelphia Eagles Now. So breaking news coming down just moments ago from ESPN's Adam Schefter that the Commanders are not hiring Ben Johnson. They're not hiring Mike Vrabel. They're not hiring Bill Belichick. Instead, they are bringing in Dan Quinn to be their next head coach. Been the Cowboys defensive coordinator over the last couple of years, and now Quinn and Commanders general manager Adam Peters, who used to be the San Francisco 49ers assistant general manager, are the two men now charged with leading Washington into the future. The background for Washington's new skipper here. As many of you know, he was the Atlanta Falcons head coach from 2015 to 2020. He was the head coach when Atlanta suffered that catastrophic, disastrous choke job against the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl when they are up by 28-3. And then Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, Bill Belichick able to mount that epic comeback. He gets let go by Atlanta, picked up immediately by the Dallas Cowboys because he's always been a very respected defensive mind going back to when he was working under Pete Carroll with the Seattle Seahawks. He's the Cowboys defensive coordinator from 2021 through 2023. And the scheme that he brought to Seattle, or at least coached in Seattle, then he brought it to Atlanta and then implemented that with the Dallas Cowboys. And now he's going to bring that to Washington. You would imagine is that hybrid Seattle 3, which did cause the Philadelphia Eagles offense some struggles over the last couple of years. And you look at the Cowboys' defensive numbers in 2023, this is before they got absolutely pantsed and dominated by the Green Bay Packers in the wild card round as Green Bay went into AT&T Stadium, first number 7 seed to win a playoff game in the history of the National Football League. And yes, the expansion of the NFL playoffs helping that. But, of course, how about them Cowboys? They came up short once again, but that defense under Dan Quinn, fast, physical, very aggressive, and consistently a very good unit when he was Dallas's defensive coordinator. This year, 5th in points per game allowed, 12th in yards per game, 10th in yards per play, third down percentage. They did rank 17th. Red zone percentage, not all that good, 22nd, but they were number 1 in takeaways with 33. So consistently, they forced turnovers, they got after the quarterback, and they were a pretty good scoring defense. But on that same token, when they had to go up against some of the upper echelon offenses in the National Football League, the Dallas Cowboys defense did struggle a little bit. Now, I'm going to explain why I think that this is tremendous for the Philadelphia Eagles. First, you look at the head coach vacancies that are filled, and this leads to some of the coaches who do not get a job in this coaching cycle. Some really good names. The Commanders hired Dan Quinn, obviously. Seahawks yesterday made Ravens defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald the youngest coach at the head coaching spot in the National Football League, with him taking over for Pete Carroll. That's a defensive hire that I do like. The Falcons hire a defensive mind in Raheem Morris. The Panthers, they bring in Bucs offensive coordinator Dave Canales to be their new head coach. Chargers pay a bag to Jim Harbaugh, fresh off the natty with Michigan at the college level. Titans go the offensive route with Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan. Raiders go defense and Antonio Pierce. And the Patriots go defense with Jerod Mayo. Let me just say this. Last 4 winners at the head coaching spot in the Super Bowl have all been offensive minds, and a lot of the Final Four matchups that we've seen in these conference championship games have featured offensive minds. And now Washington goes the defensive route, which is certainly a surprising trend that we saw in this head coaching carousel this offseason. The Commanders, ladies and gentlemen, have been a disaster. They are a disaster, and they're going to continue to be a disaster. F the commies and type ha-ha down in the comment section. And if you saw my YouTube short a little while ago making fun of Washington hiring Dan Quinn, this is tremendous news for the Eagles. Go Birds! And as you venture down to the comment section, please make sure you subscribe to us here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Anytime there's pertinent news on the Eagles front or news impacting the Eagles like this, we cover it. We are currently 311 people away from getting to 72,000 subscribers. As for why I think this is great for the Eagles now and moving forward, number one, it makes the Cowboys defense worse. And this is a Cowboys defense that has fared well against Philadelphia's offense from 2021 through 2023. And then as part of that, not only directly is the Cowboys defense weakening, and now Dallas has to try to find a defensive coordinator late in the cycle when a lot of the quality candidates have gone elsewhere. But number two, this takes quality coaches away from that Cowboys coaching staff, which is also good news for Philadelphia here, because all around at multiple different levels, you're weakening that Cowboys defensive system as well as that coaching staff. Number three, and I think this is a big one for the future, right? Washington has some pretty good draft capital. I think we saw this year that Sam Howell is not worthy of being a franchise quarterback. So the Commanders here have to rebuild with a defensive head coach, and they're going to have to draft a young quarterback and pair him up with a defensive head coach. And with the defensive mind at that head coaching spot, what oftentimes happens when you do get a very good offensive coordinator? The shelf life for that OC with that organization is about 1 to 3 years, and that constant cycle isn't easy for a young quarterback to deal with. We just saw that in Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts losing Shane Steichen. The Eagles go to Brian Johnson, and then Jalen Hurts' play, it goes downhill, and he's not the same quarterback that he was last year when he finished runner-up for NFL MVP. So a young quarterback paired with the defensive head coach is going to hurt the Commanders in the long run, and then hopefully Philadelphia doesn't have to worry about a great offensive-minded head coach with a great young quarterback. And then number five, Washington could have had Ben Johnson. And what's funny about this is that the Commanders bring in Josh Harris as their new owner to take over for the fraud in Dan Snyder. Josh Harris is a multi-billionaire. And the reports are that he kind of balked at the asking price of Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, who's one of the best up-and-coming, creative, innovative offensive minds in football, who did a great job in elevating Jerod Goff, runs a great system. That Lions offense has been really exciting the last 2 years. Not only can the Commanders not bring him in, and he was expected to be the odds-on favorite throughout this entire search for Adam Peters, but I think Bill Belichick would have been a better hire than Dan Quinn. I think Mike Vrabel probably would have been the second best hire behind Ben Johnson. So you look at the coaches who don't get a head job in this cycle, and with Washington, Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, Ben Johnson, but also a guy like Pete Carroll. I know he's a defensive mind, but at least he's won a Super Bowl and made it to back-to-back Super Bowls and has won at a high level. Dan Quinn did that for a short amount of time with the Atlanta Falcons, but as a head coach, I think his best days are behind him. I think all those could have been better options for Washington. This is a disaster for the Commanders, going from Ben Johnson to Dan Quinn. Now, where will the Eagles finish in the NFC East in 2024. Let's take a look ahead to next year because that's where our focus shifts for the Birds. Type 1, 2, 3, or 4 teams in the NFC East. You get the drift. Let me know. And don't forget to subscribe for daily and year-round Eagles coverage.